Well, again, good morning, everyone. My set of topics that I'm going to cover are really very simple. I'd like to start talking a little bit about what we mean by process and who cares, just to set the context for the process mistakes countdown, I'm calling it, the 5 process mistakes that I have seen made the most and that have the most impact when an organization is trying to improve their capability and improve performance with process improvement. So rather than reveal what those are, I was going to do that as we go through the presentation. But first, I'd like to set the stage a little bit and the context. For those of you that are, of course, doing the change agent role, the performance and process improvement role in your organization, this may be a bit of a I guess, review for you, but I thought it would be good for all of us to get on the same page. So the first, thing I guess I would like to talk about is what do we mean by processes? To me, processes are simply the thing that defines how the work gets done in an organization. And, of course, the work of the enterprise in most of your organizations is very varied. You have teams, you have departments, you have divisions, right? But it is often a very integrated, dynamic model that represents your enterprise. And the work that we're talking about can be anything from the management work of planning and communicating and overseeing and decision-making and leading the organization. It can be the work in the value chain, which probably varies from company to company, but may involve your sales and your marketing, your service delivery. If you're in the IT space, the delivery of services out to your internal clients, the operations, et cetera. Or it could also be the supporting functions like HR, logistics, facilities management, accounting, purchasing, things like that. And, I think, again, the important thing to recognize in some of the lessons learned that are in here is how integrated your organization is. And, again, I think that relates to some of the mistakes that we make in not recognizing that. In addition, let's see here. Make sure I can get the slides up. I think it's important to kind of note that processes can take the form of things that are not written down. Processes might define how the work gets done, but whether that's written down or not is another matter. Some organizations, and I've taken to referring to this as sort of tribal knowledge. Maybe you've heard that, but just the unwritten ways of doing things that are passed on, from person to person, from older worker to newer ones. And so that's again still in the realm of what we're talking about, and we want to, of course, talk a little bit about why that's not such a good thing, and how formalizing processes on paper or through electronic representations is where many organizations, end up. So this graphic is just showing that might be in the form of something like a swim lane, or could be, step-by-step narratives. It could be information on a wiki, flow diagrams, et cetera. And we'll talk about the best ways of doing that representation, because that actually is part of one of the countdown items. So again, what do we mean by process again? And I do find that this graphic is useful because most companies are definitely passionate about ensuring that the customer and the business needs of their organization are consistently met. And you hear this term, process people and technology, or process people and tools bandied about. And it's a little bit of a misnomer, and the process is one of the bubbles of this often stated, triad. But it is part. I guess the way I'd like you to think about it is processes are really part, and I'm going to call it a system. They're part of the larger system that improves the people who do the work, and and includes the use of tools that support them in doing the work. So they are the third part of this system. But more importantly, I think, in that the captured governance that represents the way you do work is really the glue, right, that guides the people in doing the work. And so if you imagine, and maybe some of your organizations are in one of these, these three states on the right, that the focus may be a little imbalanced. And so if the focus is really on the people and the process without the tools, many of you maybe are in that situation. You're sort of tool poor. Maybe the cobbler's kids, apply to you. And the steps that are not automated, the idea of automating parts of the process really can make things much more predictable and improve quality. But of course, if you don't have the tools, what you end up with sometimes are very slow and inefficient processes. That said, the problem is usually that the purchasing of tools and getting people to agree on what tools to be used can be costly and can be frustrating. The second item is just, again, if you have process and tools, but there's really not a strong connection, and I'm going to point this out, particularly in the process, to the competencies and the skills that are required to execute the process. And without explicit inclusion in your process of the roles, being very specific about the right people doing the right thing at the right time, this can really lead to an organization, that has both performance and quality issues. It can really make the organization seem somewhat amateurish because you oftentimes, and unpredictable, because you oftentimes may get a different result with different people executing the process and a different understanding of what those roles are. And then finally, if you have people and you have tools but you have no process, typically what you get is definitely an unpredictable. So even the right people, very highly trained people, can get into trouble when they're off trying to invent and do their own thing. And, of course, things like schedule pressures and cost pressures can have a negative impact on that. So most companies want to do things that are, as cost efficient as possible and want to interact very professionally and want to perform with confidence and get predictable results. And so the triad is very important in making all that happen. The other thing, I guess, to think about is, so we really do need a well-defined, a well-designed, and that's what I'm trying to highlight here, a well-designed and a used process. And again, this will be something that we'll be covering. A process that truly helps people get the work done, not that just represents the way they're supposed to get the work done or the way somebody thought they were supposed to get the work done. But again, and some of the benefits of having a defined process that people are actually referring to and using, certainly it can keep everybody focused on the main thing, particularly when the processes that you've put in place are.
Hi there, hope you enjoyed that last clip. My name is Michael Maludis, and if you'd like to watch the full 60 minutes of that last webcast, while also gaining complete unlimited access to our entire library of IT learning, simply visit our subscribe page at greatpro.org/subscribe. Unlimited annual access is $199 per year, but if you use the coupon code LEARN2EARN, you can drop that membership fee to just $149. That's less than $13 per month for unlimited access to over 1,000 hours of on-demand career development, covering the entire spectrum of IT management best practices, including business analysis and requirements, software development, quality and testing, risk management, process improvement, project management, and even digital transformation. But your membership doesn't just give you unlimited access to our vast learning library. You also get free access to our mobile app, as well as direct access to our network of over 300 of the world's leading IT consultants, all of whom are dedicated to putting practical knowledge at your fingertips so that you can learn more and earn more. I hope you will join me in becoming a member of the Great IT Professional and advancing your career with us. And if you're on YouTube, don't forget to hit that subscribe button above so that you get notified whenever we publish new free webcasts each week of the year. Thank you for your time and best wishes for your continued success.